Hello everyone, I'm Burfy1322 and in this video I'm going to be showing the fastest fully upgraded all-wheel drive vehicles around a circuit. If you want to know how all cars perform in a variety of different classes and formats, check the annotation on the screen or the link in the description for the full playlist of videos. If an all-wheel drive vehicle isn't in this list, then it's either too slow, can't be stored as a personal vehicle, or was released after this video was published and is featured in an update video, but of course feel free to subscribe for future updates. So in 10th place for the all-wheel drive vehicles is the brand new Kuruma. With its 1 minute 7.8 lap time, it's reasonably quick, you know, it's about smack bang in the middle of the sports class as well, and it's very good off-road. So the key characteristic to all of these vehicles that you're seeing in this video is that the power from the engine is transferred to all of the wheels. So it's not just the rear wheels or not just the front wheels as we've seen in previous videos, but it's transferred to all of the wheels, and they all do it slightly differently. So in 9th place, just ahead of the Kuruma, is the Sultan. Again, just ahead, you know, it's about 0.6 of a second quicker. Not that much difference between them, but they all transfer the power to the wheels in different ways. So the Kuruma that we've just seen transfers 33% of its power to the front wheels and 66% to the rear wheels. The Sultan, on the other hand, transfers 40% of its power to the front wheels and 60% to the rear wheels. Now, in 8th place, just ahead of the Sultan, we've got the Adda, which is also an all-wheel drive vehicle. Now, this transfers 20% of the power to the front wheels and 80% to the rear wheels, and that's characteristic of a lot of the higher-end sports and supercars that we're about to see. But they all just do it in very different ways, but the key characteristic is that all of the cars in this video transfer the power from the engine to all 4 of the wheels, not just rear wheels, not just front wheels. So the Adda there in 8th place for the all-wheel drive vehicles with a 1 minute 5.8, sorry. You know, not that great in the supers class, but obviously for all-wheel drive vehicles it's not too bad. And just ahead of that in 7th place is the 9F. The 9F is very good out of the corners with a 1 minute 5.2. You know, it's very quick, the 7th best sports car in the game. And ultimately, all-wheel drive vehicles, or you know, in different terminology, 4-wheel drive vehicles, are some of the best in terms of acceleration. So just ahead of the 9F in 6th place is the Jester. It's also our 6th best sports car in the game. The Jester is one of the most balanced cars in the game in terms of not having any oversteer or understeer. It's very good in that regard. But ultimately, it's slightly off the pace of the top sports cars with its 1 minute 4.7, as we saw from the sports class video. But you know, it's very good, very balanced in the corners, and just quite a nice car to drive. So in terms of the top 5, in 5th place we've got the Infernus, the 4th best supercar in the game. The Infernus takes a bit of getting used to, you know, it's very good in terms of acceleration out of the corners though. If you can get used to it, it will give you a very quick lap time with a 1 minute 3.8, as you can see there. It is just a little bit better than what we've just seen from the Jester. Now, the vast majority, well, pretty much all of the all-wheel drive vehicles that we see, their main strength is that they have really good acceleration out of the corners. So in 4th place is the Jester race car, which gets a much better acceleration boost over the regular Jester, which is why it's much quicker, with a 1 minute 3.7 there, as you can see, just a tiny bit quicker than the Infernus. But the main benefit of having all-wheel drive vehicles is that acceleration out of the corners. Even if their engine power isn't quite as much as some of the rear-wheel drive vehicles, it's the fact that the power is being transferred to all 4 wheels that makes them so good in terms of acceleration out of slow-speed corners. So in 3rd place we have obviously our best sports car in the game, which is the Elegy. The Elegy obviously has incredible amounts of traction, but it really does help it to be, you know, an all-wheel drive vehicle to get really good acceleration out of the corners as well, and that's what ultimately gives it its lap time. If the Elegy was a rear-wheel drive vehicle, it would just be another random sports car really. Yes, it has a lot of traction, but it's the acceleration boost that it gets out of the corners from transferring its engine power to all 4 wheels that gives it that extra lap time. With a 1 minute 3.5, that's obviously very quick. Now, the top 2 all-wheel drive vehicles in the game are blindingly fast, and they're actually the top 2 fastest cars in the entire game. In 2nd place, we've got the Entity XF, the 2nd quickest supercar in the game with a 1 minute 2.7. This is very close to the lap time that we saw from the Turismo R. Now, the Turismo has a really good, really high engine power. You know, it's got a lot of power in its engine, much more than the Entity has. But because the Entity is 4-wheel drive, it allows that engine power to be better distributed across the 4 wheels, which allows it to get really good acceleration out of slow speed corners, and that's where the Entity brings its lap time back up. So that's the balancing act there between the Entity and the Turismo. However, our best car in the game, which we're about to see, combines both of those features, which is obviously the Zentorno. Our best supercar in the entire game, you know, our quickest car overall. The Zentorno has the engine power of the Turismo combined with the 4-wheel drive system of the Entity. So that basically makes it unbeatable. You know, that it has immense acceleration out of the corners, you know, just enough traction to hold it all together. It's so powerful. As long as you can handle the slight oversteer that you get under braking with it, it will give you an incredible lap time. So ultimately it is the quickest because it just combines the best of everything. And you know, apart from, so basically pretty much all of the SUVs in the game are all-wheel drive, but you don't really see many all-wheel drive vehicles outside of that, apart from the ones that we've seen in this video. Obviously the gap between the lap times of the cars that we've seen here have been slightly larger than what we've seen in other videos, but ultimately the all-wheel drive vehicles are some of the quickest in the entire game. And although you've got some really quick rear-wheel drive vehicles, it's that acceleration boost that they get out of the corners and that stability that the all-wheel drive systems of these cars gives you that ultimately gives them the better lap time, even if they've got less engine power, say for example, than some of the rear-wheel drive vehicles. So that's why the all-wheel drive vehicles are pretty much king in terms of GTA. They are ultimately going to get better lap times than anything else, but there are a lot less of them than rear-wheel drive vehicles. So there you have it. Those are the 10 best all-wheel drive vehicles in the game. Obviously 4-wheel drive if you prefer that terminology. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about this. Also let me know what kind of class of videos you might want to see next. You know, how do you want me to categorize the cars in a different way and bring you guys the videos like that? Let me know down below. I'd really appreciate it. Obviously if you're new, go back and look at some previous videos where we do all sorts of different classes, and subscribe for future videos as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.